Today we're going to make some fresh Chipotle salsa. Before I give you the ingredients list, let's talk first about tomatoes and onions. First, in terms of how much you want of each, I go with about a 2 or 3 to 1 mass ratio. So if they were the same size, you do 2 tomatoes, 1 onion. But also keep in mind that we're going to take the seeds out of most of the tomatoes, so you want to accommodate that for a little bit and go with a few extra tomatoes probably. In terms of tomato type, it's winter here, we don't have a great selection, so I'm going to go with whatever looks best at the grocery store. So let's take a look at our ingredients. Okay, the first thing we're going to deal with is the chipotles. I like the dehydrated chipotles from the local Mexican market. In terms of how many, that again is a judgment call. You never know. Experiment a little bit. Some of them are a lot hotter than others. I like to process them in a coffee grinder. The other option is to rehydrate them for several hours. To me, the coffee grinder that works just as well. So I'm going to drop them in there, give them a few spins. What we're looking for here is a fine powder texture, so it's not gritty when you bite into the salsa. Now if that's done, I'm gently going to release the lid. Don't hover over it. Don't stick your face in it and sniff it. You might die. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is prep my vegetables. Let's go ahead and start with the cilantro. I'm not real picky about getting all the stalks out of there. I just want the leaves, lots of them. I love cilantro. Go a little lighter if you're not a big fan. I'm going to go ahead and dump those in the food processor now, since that's the first thing we're going to run through there. Now, let's go on to the onion. I like to just cut this in maybe 6, 4, 8 big pieces. Not real concerned about waste. Onions are cheap. Now, on to the tomatoes. Okay, for the tomatoes, I'm going to slice them all in half. I like to do it diagonally, so I can cut that little stem out. And let's go ahead and cut through all of them the same way. Next we want to remove the seeds from the tomatoes. I like to go ahead and set maybe one full tomato aside, just so we have a little bit of juice on there, but for the most part we get rid of these seeds. It's not going to be bitter. I like to use a grapefruit spoon. Any spoon will work just fine. Scoop it out, toss it. Scoop it out, toss it. Tomatoes are all sliced. Let's just get these lines cut in half. 1. 2. Now it's time to start mixing it all together. I like to do things in a very specific order, and you'll see why. I'm going to go ahead and chop up the cilantro a little bit. Next, let's go ahead and add our onions. And I like to leave my onions, some of it a little bit chunky. So what I'm going to do is run it through there, get it diced. Where is that thing? Run it through there, get it diced, pull a good half of it out before I add the tomatoes. Man, that's good. Pull some of it out. Be careful not to cut a finger off. Now, let's go ahead and squeeze our limes in. Healthy pinch kosher salt. Let's make it 2. Add our chipotles. And get those tomatoes in there. Now we're ready to mix it all up. Now if you like your tomatoes chunky, now would be a good time to stop. Go ahead and pull some of that out, just like we did the onions. Personally, I'm fine with it all blended up. Tomatoes are all blended. Let's add it to our onion mix. Add some fresh ground black pepper. And mix it all up. And there we have it. Salsa is done. Good idea to let it sit in the refrigerator for a while so all those flavors can meld together. But might as well go ahead and give it a taste. Yummo!